I am a raging, tax-avoiding capitalist with a beautiful market full of dinguses to exploit. Which industry will come out on top in my quest for profit? Weapons manufacturing? The age-old wine plus cheese combo? Octopi fishing? Exploding cows? Maybe origami? To complete 100%, I'll need to knock over all 24 achievements, hire every staff member, purchase every machine, and commission every upgrade from the architect. Welcome to 100% of Old Market Simulator. I chose the lovely tropical island map, and my journey towards a glorious market began. It was day 1 of winter, snow was falling, I had 4,000 coins to my name, and I found a lumberjack.
Hello, handsome.
The quest was telling me to buy a stand, and there were many to choose from. I bought this wooden stand for 150, and it also costs 24 coins per day for maintenance. I walked it around the corner to my little market and placed it down. The quest then instructed me to go to the docks, so I wandered along the beach and up to where the bloke who takes orders likes to hang out.
Hello. How crazy do I go? Just give me 10 potatoes.
I got 100 coins for putting in my first order ever, which meant I could afford some eggs too.
That may have been a terrible plan. Look at this. Origami. Aquarium. I gotta catch 9 fish.
Just around the corner, I found the engineer's shop.
Spice machine, alcohol machine, potion boiler, jam machine, meat cutter, oven, cheese machine.
Yeah, there were quite a few machines available here, but they were rather expensive. The quest was now telling me to go to sleep, so I went in search of my bed and soon worked out it was above my shop, and so I conked out for the night.
I had to pay rent and maintenance. Now I have minus 94. Do I lose? A negative balance for 3 days in a row leads to bankruptcy. Oh, great.
I guess I was paying daily rent for the shop, and maintenance for the shelf I'd bought was 24, plus 50 more maintenance for some other mysterious thing. The lesson was I'd need to remember to keep some money left over for my daily costs. I soon found all the potatoes and eggs I'd ordered sitting on the dock. I grabbed the eggs, but the quest mentioned a cable car, so I chucked them on the ground and swam back to land. I was briefly distracted by the gardener's shop, and then it was cable car time.
Take the cable car this way. Yeah.
I gracefully filled it up with so many potatoes. Each crate had 25, so my potato rampage meant I now had 250 potatoes to sell.
Alright, I got so many potatoes, man. Let's go back in the cable car.
This is how I had to collect my orders, for now at least. Once the car had stopped, I began moving the goods inside and placing them on the shelf.
Set price. Wholesale 16, recommended 22. Alright, I'll do 22. Buy a potato, please. Buy a potato.
I officially opened the market for the day, and it was now time for many people to hopefully buy a potato. As I was figuring out how to fit stuff on my shelves more neatly, I had my first customers arrive.
What the heck? Good job. Alright, good deal.
And so I sold my first ever egg for 17 coins, and it seemed business was booming.
Oh yeah, get those. You're a hungry fella, good boy.
So serving customers was pretty straightforward. I continued moving the potato crates over and serving customers once they arrived at the counter with their goods. I wasn't sure how much profit I was making because I had of course spent 4 grand ordering these yesterday, but it felt good to see my money climb upwards.
Wait, out of eggs already?
This basket only had 10 eggs in it to begin with, and they'd been snapped up by the ravenous townfolk already. I was now all in on the potato business.
Just get them potatoes, bro. Hello, they love the potatoes. Look at them, they love it.
I felt like the potato frenzy was great stuff, but if you look at the stat next to my coins up in the top left, that is my market's reputation, and after starting at 50, it was now going down rather quickly.
My reputation's going down?
I wondered if it was perhaps because a pile of empties was forming in the corner.
My reputation keeps going down, I don't know why. I got 193 more potatoes.
The quest was telling me to view events on the calendar at the Grand Bazaar, so I abandoned my customers and explored the town some more.
Dude, what is going on here? There's a state officer, decoration store. Here's a calendar. Wait, what?
Yeah, I accidentally bought a calendar, but it was only 60 coins, so it was actually a pretty good purchase. I put it on the wall in my store.
Got the Herb Fest. The Herb Fest is coming. Sorry, guys.
The calendar confirmed there are 28 days in winter, and by the look of it, 3 different special events were coming up in this season. Meanwhile, as I continued fueling everyone's potato addictions, my reputation continued to plummet. You might be able to see above their heads, this market is dirty, so clearly they were not impressed about all the mess on the floor. I did not notice this, because I'm a potato-obsessed goose.
Get a light from the decoration store.
My market's reputation had sunk from 50 down to 21, but at least I was able to go light shopping.
Oh, you got some lights for me, dude? Oh, look at this thing. Oh yeah, chandelier. Yeah, give me a chandelier.
That cost me 360 coins and added 15 coins per day to my growing maintenance costs, but it sure was beautiful.
I couldn't find Amazon bow. What? You think I sell Amazon bows? I just got started. I'm a potato market. Get a broom from the lumberjack and clean your market.
There were quite a few poo stains on the floor by this point, caused by my customers' stinky shoes. Also, the potatoes were flying off the shelves.
Lumberjack? Where's a broom, big fella? Paddle? Black paddle? Fishing broom. 50, that's cheap.
I wish I'd been told to get a broom before I lost 30 reputation, but to be fair, I'd also lost some reputation due to not having any Amazon bows in stock. Finally, the mess was gone, and as you can see, evening was here, but the customers kept flowing.
Throw empty items into the fire pit out front. Really? Can't I repurpose these?
At least I was able to get rid of the pile of crap in the corner. I divvied out a few more patates to round out the day, and since the customers had no mess to complain about, I was earning back a bit of reputation.
Get the farm field expansion from the architect. I gotta weigh my options here because it might not be smart to spend too much money on capital just yet. It might be smarter to just buy infinite potatoes and sell them.
That is exactly what a potato-crazed madman would say. I checked out the calendar again.
Valentine's Day. Oh, you can put price increases on stuff.
That woman there couldn't find orange jam, and that is the second way you can lose reputation. Some customers come looking for a very specific item, and if you don't have it in stock, you lose some rep. As evening wound down into night, I distributed the day's final potatoes. I wandered over and found the farm area, which had some rather intimidating defenses up. I checked the market again, but now that it officially said night up the top there, no more customers were gonna show up. Back in the bazaar, I had a chat to the state officer. This is where you can buy permission to order different goods from the dock. I admired some lovely art, which apparently gives plus reputation to your market, and around the corner here I finally found the architect. This is where you can expand the farm, market, and cellar, among other things. I was worried the farm was too costly.
500 and then 50 a day. 50 a day is kind of brutal.
I returned to the dock orders dude and decided to diversify. I ordered some bread, carrot, and eggs. By the way, you can see there's a decay time. Certain foods will go rotten if left on the shelf for too long. For example, bread lasts 2 days, but my abundant potatoes would last a generous 5 days.
If I get the farm, that's fine, but I'm also going to need to get a water can, a hoe. Cheapest seeds are like 400 for sugar, it looks like.
I was worried putting in that much of an investment at this point would be too aggressive, but I was probably overthinking it. I grabbed the potatoes I'd somehow never taken from the cable car.
What happens if I'm cheeky and just set this at like 24? Or if I get some kind of pushback? Because if I can increase my profit margin a bit, it's going to be significant.
Once the order arrived tomorrow, I worried my shelves would be too full, so I bought another.
We'll close it and it's still wide open, but you know.
I moved my calendar upstairs, noticed there was a closed workshop here, and then went to bed.
Oh, I gotta pay tax as well?
Yeah, you've got to pay tax on any profits you make. That's just a law of existence.
And the average cost of a potato is 16. I sold for 22. We made 858 coins profit. Let's see if I can get away with selling for 24 tomorrow.
This recap screen provided some good insight into my business. For example, it showed that my daily costs were 213 coins already, but all I could think about was rage regarding the tax. In the morning, I picked up my order with the cable car, and this was quite a painstaking process, one at a time.
I mean, this is a tropical island. Even in winter, I don't think it would be snowing on a tropical island, but I respect it.
I opened up for business, and it was some more one at a time silly willies to get the shelves stocked.
Can I like be a bit sneaky and just push up to 75 and see what happens? Like, people are still buying it, right?
I'd paid $6.60 for a dozen bread, and as you can see, I was determined to stretch the profit margin as far as I could.
These guys paid the 75 for some bread.
And so I pushed up the price of every item by 2 or 3 coins above the recommended price, hoping my greed would go unnoticed by the townsfolk. If you look above their heads, these 2 customers immediately complained about the prices. One said carrots were too expensive, one said potatoes were too expensive. This is the third way you can lose reputation. I did not notice their complaints. Stuff was still selling, so I thought I was a money-making genius.
Can hire employees. There's no way I'm hiring any of these dinguses yet. What are you doing? Hello? Yeah, I feel like I had way more people coming yesterday. I'm just gonna put these down to recommended.
And so I backtracked because I felt like less people were coming to the market due to the high prices. There were indeed less people coming, but it was not for that reason. I'll explain later.
How did I sell so many potatoes yesterday? No one's coming today. You couldn't find a love potion? I mean, the love potion's not going to help you, mate.
It seemed the most one customer could purchase was 5 items, so I was a big fan of anyone who bought that much.
East Wind Oh, I can change the name. Floydson's Bazaar. Floydson is Bazaar. Nice. Only 34% of people have done that. Everyone else is too stupid. Goodies by Floydson. That's definitely the name of the market. We love it.
Apparently, I lost confidence in the name Floydson is bizarre, so goodies by Floydson it is. Meanwhile, my reputation was climbing again.
My reputation's going back up. I don't know why.
It's because I was being prompt about cleaning any dirt, and since I changed the prices back to the recommended price, no one was getting cranky about expensive goods. I found the store where some animals were for sale, and while business was slower today, I still emptied a few of the containers. And of course, I cleaned lots of dirt.
I couldn't find egg. The eggs just ran out, man. Don't blame me, blame the other lady. She stole the last one.
Except, guess what? I missed some dirt. And every single time someone exits the market while there's dirt on the floor, they remark about how dirty the market is and you lose 3 reputation. It is brutal. Despite the suboptimal play, I'd saved up 4,000 coins. So I put in an order, and I left some money spare so that I could afford the first farm unlock. I still wasn't sure if this was the right call, but I figured it would pay off in the long run. I bought a hoe and tilled this first square of soil.
The quest wants me to do cabbage seeds for 1,000, dude. Oh, fall, spring, summer. Yeah, winter. We need winter stuff. Can I leave my hoe there? No one steal my hoe, please.
I couldn't afford the cabbage seeds, so I figured I'd leave that until tomorrow. Since I'd sold multiple items today, I got a bit more insight into the profit margins. As you can see, some items were more profitable than others, but most seemed to make around 30 to 40% if I sold at the recommended price. Managing the business was an absolute mission between making orders, filling shelves, serving customers, keeping track of stock levels, and balancing the books. You already know it. Clearly, I was in need of some help from Odoo. Yes, indeed, big thanks again to Odoo for sponsoring the video. Odoo is an all-in-one business management software that offers entrepreneurs a wide range of apps designed to facilitate the day-to-day management of their business. There are 45 easy-to-use applications, from CRM to sales to accounting to project management to inventory to website creation to HR, and the list goes on. These apps are all centralized, together on a single platform, and they're integrated so the apps communicate with each other. For example, your sales are linked to your accounting and inventory management, so all your data and operations are streamlined. The interface is smooth and intuitive to use, and as you scale, more apps can be seamlessly added into your repertoire in line with the growth of your business. Odoo will help you to automate processes to reduce manual and repetitive tasks, to gain a better overview of your business performance, and it'll save you time so you're freed up to focus on high-value activities. Odoo will tailor itself to your location with automatic configurations based on taxes, currencies, and rates, so it'll help you to be compliant to the regulations of wherever your business is located. Your first Odoo app is free for life, including unlimited hosting and support, so you can give it a try at no cost whatsoever, and should you wish to make use of more apps, a single affordable subscription gets you complete access to all applications. Click the link below and try Odoo today. Alright friends, back to ye olde market. And at this point, I had to admit how oblivious I was about reputation in particular. I had no idea what it did, so I whipped out this FAQ.
Basically, I need higher reputation to attract more customers. To improve my reputation, I need to offer fair prices, okay. Provide a variety of products, okay. Clean, yep. And adjust stock for events. This game's got some tech, man. This kind of, Wait, did I accidentally just sleep again? I just slept again. I just wasted like a few $100s worth of maintenance. And it's Herb Fest. I don't have any stuff for herb. Oh crap. Main problem is my bread is now going to go off in one day. So hopefully I sell it all today.
So I accidentally slept through day 4 of winter, like a silly, sleepy baboon. But at least I now sort of understood how reputation works.
You grubs, don't make a mess. I need reputation. It's the Herb Fest. I can't sell any of this stuff, man.
I had carrots, but that was it. And so some people who were excited about Herbfest expressed outrage at the lack of Merlot lettuce or wheat, but I was impotent to help them.
Merlot lettuce for 1900? How was that? There's no way I was going to get that ready. I got up to 49 reputation, so we should see a lot of customers. Please buy all the bread. The bread's going off tomorrow. Couldn't find wheat, I lose 2 reputation for that. Couldn't find lettuce, couldn't find wheat. This stupid Herb Fest.
I guess theoretically I could have figured out how to stock that stuff in time, but it would have been tricky. And I slept through the entirety of day 4 like an idiot, so I had no hope. Despite the disgruntled herb lovers, I had fair prices and I was keeping the floor clean, so the reputation was actually doing okay. Because every satisfied customer of course raises reputation, usually by 1 as far as I could tell.
I think I can be bold with it and get the cabbage. Get the cabbaggio.
I dropped 1,000 coins on the seeds and I continued hoeing. But before I was done, I ran back to the market because I didn't want to leave it unattended for too long.
Oh, dude, I dropped down to 43 reputation. What happened? Is it because of the mess? You stinky dinguses.
When I finished hoeing the field, my hoe broke, and 1 pack of cabbage seeds gets you 12, so I wasn't quite able to utilize every spot.
Dude, enough with your stinky feet, guys, for goodness sake.
I was making pretty good money though, and it didn't seem to matter too much that I wasn't doing anything particularly herby for Herbfest. I bought a watering can for 30 coins, and it held enough water for me to water 8 of the plots. So I refilled at the well, and soon all of the cabbage sprouts were looking rather moist.
I think I'm officially out of bread and eggs, so my variety is now gone, therefore I'm gonna lose reputation.
I was a strong believer in variety, but honestly, the main reason I'd lost reputation so far was due to the floor being dirty. Before long, I once again had only potatoes left in stock, and honestly, it felt quite pure. But then my lack of variety did cause a reputation hit, but these guys wanted red currant and lettuce, which are items I couldn't have stocked yet anyway, so that was rude. But it inspired me to find a way to work towards yet more variety, so I hit up the state officer and spent 500 coins on permissions to order processed foods at the dock.
The quest wants me to buy a horse and put it in my barn. So I can transport goods? 1,000 coins and 100 per day maintenance? There's no way I'm getting a horse.
A horse felt like a luxury I couldn't afford. I put in an order, including requesting some beverages for the first time.
We got some of that peach juice. We got some of that soda.
The peach juice was a Herb Fest item, so that was something. Meanwhile, my reputation fell through the floor again because I wasn't being quick enough with the cleaning. I promise I will get on top of the reputation issue eventually, but it's a bit of a journey. And to be fair, it is quite hard to be prompt about cleaning when you've got so many other things to do. I snuck away to water the crops, I served many customers, but it felt like I just could not get my reputation back up.
How did I do so well with reputation yesterday?
I seriously don't know, but this day 6 was a rough one. The profit was solid, and I developed a serving technique where I didn't even bother going behind the counter, but by the end of it all, my market's reputation was sitting sad on 25. I investigated the greenhouses. Unlocking the first one cost 6,000 coins, so that was a no-go. And I should mention that once night hits, customers of course stop coming, but you also have infinite time. The next day will not start unless you sleep. As such, nighttime was of course a great opportunity to get stuff done. I spent about 5,000 coins on a big order and went to bed.
I made no profit on the carrots? What are you talking about?
So that carrot fail relates to Herb Fest. The cost of the carrots had increased due to Herb Fest, and I was supposed to increase the sale price accordingly, but I did not. Whoops. With bigger and bigger orders, these cable car shenanigans were getting more and more ridiculous, and suddenly buying a pack horse didn't seem like such a bad idea. I realized the 3 remaining potatoes had gone rotten, so they'd been sitting on the shelf for 6 days apparently, which is a good effort. I just chucked them on the street out front, and filled my shelves a little before opening the market to the public. The early morning is always quiet, so I ducked off to water the cabbages, and then I sold some of my first ever walnuts.
Junkman, do you want rotten stuff? Here you go. Junkman? If I put it in here. Oh, that got rid of it. It's just another quiet day, isn't it? It's kind of weird. How do I do origami?
Yeah, it was quiet. Quite quiet. The customers trickled in, and despite having way more stock than ever before, I made less than half the money I'd made yesterday. I made one wise decision though. I bought a fishing rod for 300 coins and headed down to the beach to cast a line. Before long, I'd earned the achievement to catch my first fish.
It's a brown fish. Classic type of fish.
I needed somewhere to display it, so I bought a regular fish stand for 500 coins plus 45 coins daily maintenance. I placed it here and popped the fishy on to sell.
I've now invested 800 into fishing because I bought the rod and the fish stand, and then the fish stand is going to cost me like 50 coins a day as well. I better actually catch some fish or else it's going to be a complete sink of money.
My next catch was a regular fish.
Oh, recommended price. Okay. Those are decent prices. 52 and then 38. I don't hate that.
And on the third cast, I caught an absolutely outrageous fish.
Oh, what is this? Wait, what? Wait, I found beer?
What the heck?
How many do I actually have? I have 14 beer and they're worth 132 each? Okay. Fishing is insane. That's going to be like... What? What?
I'd been learning that this game really makes you spend money in order to make money. It's actually quite hard to make a big profit margin. So when I was set to earn about 2,000 coins from some random beer I fished up with my 300 coin fishing rod, I could not believe my luck. But the lucky catches didn't stop there.
Bro, what have I found now? Fish trophy. Does that add reputation or something?
I did some more fishing, and when I pulled out this barrel, I thought I'd found another juicy item, but it was just junk.
Junkman, you want junk? Oh wait, I do get coins for this. 20. Okay, thank you, Junkman.
I decided to donate a brown fish and a regular fish to the museum, which was 2 out of 9 donated. And if I was dedicated to the grind, I would have made use of the infinite nighttime. I would have kept fishing until the fish stand was jam-packed. But apparently I was lazy, because off to bed I went without even bothering to order anything, because I had so much stock remaining after my slow day. But really, it would have been smarter to spend my profit to avoid the 190 coin tax bill.
The cabbages are getting bigger. Someone's buying the first fish. Oh, this guy missed out on his fish. She snatched it right out of your hands, you silly goose.
I developed a revolutionary strategy where I served the customers as fast as possible and then ran off to catch a fish. Squeeze a little fishing in, you know? This bloke bought 2 beers, so that was a lovely injection of money.
These guys are buying a lot of stuff. Okay, this feels like it's gonna be a good day. I've done like 7 or 8 casts and it looks like it's still got a lot more, so I think fishing is definitely the most margin.
I believe this 300 coin fishing rod can be cast 50 times before breaking. That's 6 coins per cast. So the fish caught using it are indeed sold for mostly profit. And any beers you catch make even more profit. I had more customers today than yesterday, but I didn't exactly know why, though I worked it out soon enough. But more customers meant a quicker reputation climb, assuming I kept them happy, and today it was going well.
If I take that down, oh yeah, the fish trophy I fished up is definitely giving me +1. And it's not +1 reputation, it's +1 max reputation.
I kept the market running smoothly, I mostly kept the floors clean, and the fish were selling as fast as I could catch them. As the day grew old, I was almost out of stock.
Can I put the crates? Oh my gosh. How much money have I wasted because the game told me to burn it in the fire? I've probably lost like 500 coins so far because I didn't know that. The game's a little bit kind of, it really doesn't hold your hand, let's put it that way. My reputation's up to 70, by the way.
The fact that I could profit off the empty crates and baskets delighted me, as I squeezed a little bit more money out of the enterprise. The game had won me over.
It's basically just an opportunity to min-max profit, and I like that.
My broom broke to round out the day, so I'd have to buy another, but I had sold literally everything. I considered buying a backpack from this clothing store, but I figured I'd better invest purely into more stock at this point, so I put in a big order, spending almost all of the 7,500 coins I'd saved up today. I did some nighttime fishing, and I caught a mixture of brown and regular fish, plus some junk. And then I went to bed where I admired the massive 1,764 profit from the ocean beer. I also admired the fact that my tax was zero because I'd spent all of my profit. The problem with putting in a big order is it's a rather tedious process to transport it all to the market, but I did my best to stock the shelves as quickly as possible while serving record numbers of customers.
There's more than 4 people in here though. The capacity's more than 4. Why does it say the capacity's 7? Oh, the capacity's 7 because my reputation's higher now?
I was slowly catching on. Meanwhile, business was booming.
This is non-stop. 92 reputation, capacity still 7. Oh, is it based on the reputation from the previous day? Maybe the word gets out overnight. I'm at 94 now. I might have a capacity of 9. If I can get it over 100, I might have a capacity of 10 and I'll have a ridiculously busy day tomorrow.
Finally, I understood how reputation works. And the fruit of a higher reputation was evident. This was a lot of customers. It was glorious. I had a complaint that peach juice was too expensive, and I realized it was still at the inflated Herb Fest price, so I changed it back down. And even with the busier day, I still managed to squeeze in some fishing. Even deep into the evening, heaps of handsome townsfolk were getting a cheeky shopping trip in.
Putting all these things in the junk thing is actually pretty significant for the profit margin.
As you might be able to tell, I was obsessed with profit margin. Between daily rent, maintenance costs, and of course the cost of buying stock, it felt quite tricky to accumulate coins. But on the other hand, I'd ended yesterday on 7,600 coins and today on 9,300, so that was pretty good progress. I watered the cabbages and then fished, where I developed a new strategy of leaving a pile of crap here.
We got a decent haul of fish here.
A decent haul, but sadly no random beer. And I gave the junk to the man of junk to end the day. That night, I was offended I'd let myself get taxed 50 coins.
I might as well reinvest everything or else I'm just going to lose random money to tax for no reason, and then the useless government will waste it all, just weighing it out the window.
I'd put in another big order. Bread, eggs, soda, peach juice, walnuts, etc, etc. But more exciting than that, my cabbages were ready.
I got multiple boxes. 104? How many do I have? Cabbage, 48 times 104. It's going to be close to 5 grand. Okay, I need to keep farming for sure. Oh, and the capacity is at 10. It looks like my 98 rep rounded up. Oh, and now we actually hit 100. The reputation's on 100.
Yeah, it's fair to say Goodies by Floydson was popping off. Let me give you the cabbage breakdown. 500 to buy the farm plot, 1,000 for the cabbage seeds, 50 per day for the farm maintenance, that's 250 total across the 5 days the cabbages took to grow, 1,750 invested. But sold at the recommended price, the 48 cabbages would make back over 5,000 coins.
I'm playing Tetris with the shelves to make sure I can fit this stuff.
If in doubt, just chuck it on the ground for later.
Oh yeah, give me that cabbage profit, baby. Give me that delicious cabbage profit. I'm already back up to 5 grand. It's only afternoon. Afternoon? I haven't even stocked the shelves yet, and I've served about 700 customers. Already sold 1 crate of cabbages. I mean, my reputation is pristine. We're at 101. We're maxed out reputation. There's still so many customers in here. Holy moly, we've cleared 10 grand. Thankfully, having a giant pile of empty crates and stuff doesn't ruin your reputation. You wanted Baby Shark, huh? It's literally the most viewed YouTube video. It shouldn't be that hard for you to find, you silly dingus. I couldn't find carrot. You two dinguses, man. I was thinking I might still have a fair bit left on the shelf, but a lot of this stuff is just empty already. They finally figured it out, I think, those 2 idiots that were walking into each other. She probably got pregnant in the process. We're going to invest a little bit today.
That was an eventful day 10, and I now had over 13,000 coins. So I got loose with it and spent 3,250 on 2 more farm plots, which also added 125 coins per day to my rent costs. I of course had to buy some seeds too. There were other winter seeds available, but cabbage was the cheapest, so that's what I stuck with. It was another 4,000 coins in order to sow seeds in all 48 farm plots. This also meant my watering chore had just become a little bit more laborious.
So in 5 days I'll have 20,000 worth of cabbage. Just a bit of fishing can cover the daily upkeep. You just gotta make sure you do a little bit of fishing.
I'd invested about 7,000, which I knew would get me 20,000 coins worth of cabbages in a few days, but it meant I had to settle for a smaller order for tomorrow's stock. I got over-enthusiastic about fishing to make up for it.
Okay, my rod is officially broken, but I got a good haul of fish here. If you didn't have to pay maintenance for the shelves, I would get more for sure. When you jump, you get like a burst forward. feel like jumping is quicker than running. 377 coins from all the junk. I'm gonna buy the advanced fishing rod.
I had to replace my broken rod, so I figured I'd see if this thing caught me any new varieties of fish. By the look of things, it did not. Maybe I had to go out on a boat to catch rarer fish.
That, my friends, that is a successful day. Talk to me, man.
Talk to me, daily summary. Whisper of the great many sales that were made today.
Tomato can's only 20%, that's kind of crap. The walnut's only 20%. Maybe I should just stick to like the higher profit margin ones, but I think the variety really helps make sure my reputation stays up. So I don't know, I don't know exactly what I should be doing. Maybe if I've got the variety, then I can get away with pushing the price higher and my reputation won't take a hit.
It was time for another experiment with pricing, now that I had a better understanding of how reputation works. I bumped up the price of every item by a small amount.
I mean, I haven't lost any reputation yet. There's so many people in here, I gotta make sure I serve or else I can't fit anyone else in the store. Some of these people only buy one thing. I wish you would buy 5 things each. I think I'm losing reputation if they can't find... Yeah, like these people can't find... Oh, someone just complained something was too expensive. But I don't think everyone necessarily will complain. So maybe on balance, I can get away with it.
As the afternoon went by, the experiment seemed to be going well, until I dropped the ball with the cleaning and I began running out of stock.
Couldn't find Nomad bow. Oh, you want a weapon? Who are you shooting?
And so my market's reputation dipped down to 86, though I'm not sure my price hike was fully to blame. Ordering 3 farm plots took me 1 minute and 5 seconds. Admiring the trees for sale took me about the same, and the night was young. There was plenty more mischief to be had. I caught another fish trophy, but discovered that only the first of each decoration adds to the max reputation, so I chucked it in the junk pile.
Oh. That's like 350? That's pretty good. Hang on, I've spotted something. That's an origami pig. That looks like a mineral node. Oh, this looks like a mineral node too.
For some reason, I hadn't thought to investigate the map very thoroughly so far, but now it was revealing some of its secrets to me.
I can pick up... What do I do with the bamboo? Is it for sale though? No, I don't have a price on it. Yeah, I mean, bamboo's not on my list. Get this pig to the origami museum. Boom. 1 out of 12. Heck yes. Oh, fish trap actually. Hang on.
The fish trap only cost 60 coins, plus 2 coins maintenance per day. Meanwhile, I was confused about bamboo. And now that I knew I could find origami out in the wild, I was ready to parkour. I found this dragon on a rooftop. 2 out of 12. Also, the shark dangling there is a bit dramatic. Also, I went for a swim. I ended up on a little island with more bamboo and another mineral node, so clearly there was more stuff to collect out at sea, which was good to know. I couldn't do much with it yet, but at least the town looked nice on the return swim. I had a solid fishing session, enough to fill up the fish stand, and then I finally gave in.
I think it's time to buy the horse. Let's do the quest. Let's get the brown horse. $100 maintenance a day is brutal. Where is my barn? Oh, here's my barn.
I didn't realize I had a barn ready to go, and now I also had a horse.
Let's get a chicken too. Why not?
Also, a chicken. For some reason, you don't have to feed the horse. Their trough stays full of hay magically, but the livestock have to be fed grass every day. A bucket costs only 50 coins.
Hey, he's coming.
If you whistle, your nearest horse will come. Good horsey. I investigated the cows, and it seemed the white ones were dairy cows, and the brown ones were destined to be butchered. I guessed this because the white ones produce milk twice as often. I decided to buy a dairy cow. I shoved some grass in its trough, I made a ring of grass around the little chick, and then I moved the cow, which made the grass disappear, so that wasn't ideal. But it was nice to have some animals. I also visited the state officer, and on a whim bought permission to order snacks, because I love a good snack. That spiced up my options, and so I dumped about 10,000 coins into my most varied order yet. My daily rent plus maintenance costs were now about 600 coins, by the way, as all the animals I'd bought had added to the maintenance. Also, the recorded profit margins were a little higher today, because I'd ripped people off. It felt great.
I'm whistling. Yes, come horse. Good job. Oh, look at them pies. Ooh, place. How many things can I plate? Where'd it go? Is that it? I can only put 6 things on. Bro, you suck, horse.
The horse was a little underwhelming, and I somehow ended up swimming with a box full of candy canes. I had the horse follow my whistle all the way back to the market, so I guess it was better than nothing, and I bumped up the prices of all my new stock. I served a flurry of morning customers and took the horse to grab another packload of goods, but the horse was kind of slow, so it felt a bit janky. I concluded the bamboo could definitely not be sold, so I got it off the shelf, and even though I don't think I was completely on top of the cleaning today, my reputation stayed solid, as it climbed to sit around 100. By the time I'd gone for round 3 with the pack horse, I was beginning to think it was worse than just jamming carrying the cable car full of stuff. But other than that, it was a solid day of trading, though it was lower profit than yesterday because overall I was selling low-cost goods compared to those juicy cabbages, and my customer capacity was 9, not 10. On the plus side, I had a fair bit of leftover stock at the end of the day, and because Reputation had been holding steady, I raised prices a little more. I then did the usual nighttime watering and fishing, and I developed a new fishing strategy where I ran all the way back to my shop once the line was cast.
Big strats. Fishing through dimensions.
It saved a few seconds, not bad.
I wonder if I could serve customers while doing this.
That night, I identified an important consideration when it comes to choosing stock.
Yeah, Lollipop's got a good margin, but it's so low cost and it uses up so many sale slots. Each customer can buy 5 things max, so you don't really want them buying low cost things.
Yeah, even with plenty of customers coming through, there are still a finite number of sales made per day. So where possible, I tried to prioritize stocking higher cost items as the playthrough progressed, because even if they didn't have the best profit margin percentage-wise, at least every sale would be higher impact. Ideally, I could just stock infinite lollipops with their juicy 50% profit margin, but I would simply have way too many, and I wouldn't be able to sell all of them if I did that. Anyway, you get the idea. As you can see, my fishing while serving customers technique worked wonderfully.
Alright, I think I'm getting some complaints about price, but my reputation is floating around like 95 to 100, so this fishing strategy is great stuff. Oh yes! Oh yes, I caught beer again. Let's ramp the price up to 138 as well, why not?
But my reputation began to slip, and suddenly I saw multiple complaints about price, so I lost confidence and adjusted back down a little. Thanks to the higher foot traffic plus the free beer, day 13 was a profitable one. I tidied up, ordered a variety of stuff, watered, and then realized tomorrow was going to be Valentine's Day. I bought the gardens and fields permission, which would at least allow me to order some roses, and I bought this rug hoping it might reduce the amount of dirt in the store. I have no idea if it helped with that, but it at least gave +2 max reputation. I added a bunch of roses to the order, and apparently regular fish would also be in high demand for Valentine's Day, so that gave me extra motivation for my nightly fish.
If you were playing co-op, there would definitely just be one dude fishing 24/7, losing his mind, but bringing in insane profit. Oh yeah, we got some Valentine's Day decorations up. Lovey-dovey. Oh, roses on the walkway? Love hearts everywhere? Still a dead shark with lots of harpoons in it.
I'd taken to just leaving the horse on the dock, so it was ready and waiting for me, which helped speed up the process. And today, roses and cookies got priority, because they both benefit from the Valentine's Day event. I believe the usual price of cookies is 98 coins, but the recommended Valentine's Day price was 127, so I was set to earn about 30% more profit from my Valentine's Day stock, including the fish. But I was missing a few key items for the Day of Love, so the people were a bit grumpy.
They can't find honey, they can't find pleasure potions, they can't find chocolate. Please, just enjoy what I do have, you complaining nerds.
I didn't get punished this badly when I lacked Herbfest items, but I guess since I had way more customers visiting, my Valentine's Day lack wasn't being tolerated. I hadn't even managed to stock everything yet, it was so busy, so I did another run to the dock with the horsey. And I later learned that not only are specific items in high demand during special events, you also have more customers in general, so that's why it was so busy. My store's capacity was at 18, easily its highest so far.
Dude, where's my horse? My horse keeps getting lost. I mean, I'm making crazy profit, but my reputation has tanked so far. Yeah, they're just upset because they can't find stuff. They just expect me to have everything. Couldn't find love potion. Couldn't find grey fish.
I'd started the day at 98 reputation, and I'd lost 66, all the way back down to a devastating 32. I'd earned a lot of money, at least. I spent 3,500 coins buying the large backpack, which meant I could now carry 5 things around with me instead of just 1. This was massive. It was immediately helpful, making my junk disposal much more efficient. My chicken had pooped out an egg, so I earned an achievement for harvesting from an animal.
It's a full 10 eggs. That's not bad. I think I get one of those every day.
Not bad indeed. I got a little loose with my money as I spent 6,500 coins to get permission to order alcohol and luxury foods. Partly because I knew I'd need them to order stuff for Christmas, but Christmas wasn't for 11 more days.
That may have been a dumb purchase actually.
By the way, my fish trap had been faithfully providing me either regular or brown fish. This was 3 days in a row now, and it had 1 day left on it. I put in an order, getting some quite expensive things such as aged cheese and wine, and then I enjoyed my nightly fish.
Oh, I got more beer. More free beer from the ocean. The ocean always gives the beer.
I fished up a trophy too, and after junking it, I decided to employ my first staff member.
I might try to hire Jack to help on the checkout.
I definitely needed Jack's help on the checkout today, but tomorrow wasn't going to be very busy thanks to the loss of reputation. But I figured it was about time I stopped spending half my days stuck at the checkout. To end the day, I admired the Valentine's Day profit margins.
86% profit on the roses, not bad. All right, Jack. Good luck today, mate. Hope to see you put in a good performance.
Picking up my order from the dock was a dream thanks to my new backpack, and in comparison, the horse felt like more trouble than it was worth. You can get a more expensive horse which can presumably carry more items at once, but I never bought it. I did attempt to use the horse to at least move things from the cable car to the market entrance, but I soon decided that was pointless too. As I filled the shelves with probably the most variety I'd stocked so far, Jack faithfully served the customers for me.
Yeah, this is actually way less stressful with this guy on the checkout popping off. And my reputation's gone down somehow. Come on, man.
I was pleased to find my cabbages were ready to harvest, but that meant I was definitely out of shelf space, so I picked up another stand from the lumberjack. Check out this aged cheese. Because I'd bought the 2 extra fields, this was a rather large cabbage harvest.
This is where I might actually have to worry about things going off.
Cabbage goes rotten after 4 days, and I was worried I had so much of it I wouldn't be able to sell it all in that time. And then I made a final decision regarding prices.
Even though I'm not losing much reputation from expensive things, I can't afford to lose any reputation.
And so from here on, I decided to stick to the recommended price. The greed wasn't worth the trouble. My market's capacity was at a pathetic 3, by the way, so I had way more stuff on the shelves than necessary. Jack was taking care of the trickle of customers, so I just fished. Meanwhile, I couldn't seem to rescue my bad reputation.
This market is dirty. What? That guy just made a mess 2 seconds before you said that. Problem is, I'm gonna have stuff. Someone else is complaining. The market is dirt. What do you mean? Someone else made a mess in the last 2 seconds and you complain. You probably made the mess yourself and then you complain about it.
Even though I'd had way fewer customers to please, I'd somehow annoyed most of them. And now I was destined to have even less customers tomorrow. Since I had so much stock left over, I decided to invest big in seeds. I spent $7,800 on leek seeds. I realized I had even more cabbage to harvest. And I spent a further $2,000 on cabbage seeds. And the farm was fully planted once more. I fished and then barely remembered I had livestock, so I made sure to feed them. And I collected another basket of eggs too. I then saved my market's reputation by hiring the beautiful Marge, cleaner extraordinaire. This meant I now had $675 in employment costs total, so my daily costs were at about 1,500 coins, but it was very much worth it. I tended to my animals early on day 16, and check out my overflowing stock in the corner there. But what I really needed from today was reputation, so that I could attract more customers tomorrow.
I've already lost some. You can't find regular fish cut. Regular fish cut? Get a knife?
Sadly, it did not let me cut the regular fish with the knife.
Do I need a meat grinder or something for that? Can I stab Marge? No.
Marge does not deserve stabbing. She deserves all of the love, because she stayed on top of the cleaning way better than I ever could, and the market's reputation slowly climbed.
Alright, get in there, Marge. Nice job, Marge. She's on it.
The climb was steady, and it made me realize it was probably my terrible cleaning skills that caused the issues all along. But no longer. Marge was here. I was concerned my ridiculous amount of cabbages were gonna go rotten, so I decided to unlock the cellar for 1,500 coins. It also costs $150 in rent per day. I don't think I've properly showed you Jack in action on the checkout. Here he goes. On ya, Jack, you big legend. And here's the cellar in which I dumped some of my cabbages. The cellar completely pauses decay on items, so you can store stuff here forever if you want.
Okay, we got the 50 rep. Tomorrow's gonna be way busier. That's a good thing.
There was some bread and eggs with just 1 day left before they'd go rotten, so I chucked them in the cellar to save them from that fate. And I still had a fair bit of stock left over, but I put in a decent order regardless. And as I fished, I lamented the decline of my market.
I was on such a high before Valentine's Day. My rep was at 100. I was getting so many customers, selling like crazy. Valentine's Day was my highest profit day ever. But it tanked my reputation, man, because I just couldn't deliver the love potions.
Day 17 of winter was a little weird.
Frostbite, banned, wait, what? Banned items, collard, leek, merlot, lettuce, and cabbage. Cabbage is the only thing I have.
Well, I guess the cabbages will have to go in the cellar then.
I mean, I hope it's not frostbite for the next 10 years because cabbage is my main product.
It's all good. The main goal today was reputation. The cabbages could wait.
I mean, where are my customers though? Wow, my capacity's at 1. Is that because of the frostbite? Probably. I mean, that's fair because the weather is terrible, but this is not what I needed.
At least the frostbite didn't kill my crops, and as long as I made enough money to pay my daily expenses, it'd be fine. Fishing up 2 fish trophies made sure of that, and by the end of the day, my reputation had almost climbed to 60.
Give me one more reputation, someone. Come on, you. You better not complain, bro. Hey, oh, he did complain. You couldn't find a flaming cucumber. I'll smack you over the head with a cucumber, you absolute poo head.
Some more late evening shoppers showed up and pushed the reputation above 60 after all, so the poo head did not win. Day 17 was frostbite free, and the flow of customers was solid, so Marge was working hard.
Can I harvest from the milk? Oh yeah, the udder is shining. Give me a flaming goat, bro. I'm so excited. Hello, little goat man. Yay!
The cow produced a dozen bottles of milk, sold at 24 a pop, and soon the goat would be leaking milk too. This guy complained about an expensive rose, which made me realize it was still at the Valentine's Day price. In fact, a few items were still overpriced, so I corrected that, and with Marge on top of the cleaning, and no reason for customers to complain about expensive goods, the reputation was moving up nicely. Finally, after quite a long period of chaos, things had stabilized, and because the store ran on autopilot once the shelves were stocked, I was free to do my own thing.
Well, I maxed out my reputation. There we go. Market 1, capacity, and then 40 more rent. I mean, honestly, let's just do that. You know what? I'm gonna do it again. Is that crazy? I think that means I'm gonna get more benefit out of my high reputation. Yeah, we got extra space. Oh, a door here is actually so useful as well.
Water, junk, and now that my market was a little bigger, some rearranging, ordering, and fishing, including some more ocean beer to make me happy. I made almost 12,000 coins worth of sales to a capacity of 6 on day 17, but day 18 was set to be way busier.
We're gonna be busy, Jack. You need to dig deep.
Some leeks were ready.
The leeks are worth 119. Oh, not bad.
And by the time I'd moved the order inside, the shelves were looking stacked.
I'm gonna help you out, dude. I'm gonna help you out. You're a bit slow.
I was worried that if Jack had a giant queue waiting, then those customers would use up capacity and slow down the flow of new customers. So I figured I'd give Slow Jack a helping hand to bag the goodies. The seller proved handy as I dumped many leeks in there, and I should mention the customer capacity today was 14. 10 from ending yesterday with 103 reputation, and plus 4 thanks to the market upgrades I'd bought. I bought some Merlot lettuce and collard seeds and added those veggies to my mix of crops, and it seemed with Marge's cleaning, my reputation pretty much hovered at max. That afternoon, the sea offered up an even more delightful alcoholic bounty.
What did I catch? What is this? Is this whiskey? It is whiskey. Holy dooly, that's the mother load.
At $4.80 each, those 8 bottles of whiskey provided a lovely injection into the profit margin of the day, and the leeks I'd harvested put in good work too. As always, I put in an order. It was a relatively big one, and I made a huge discovery.
What is this? Weeds.
Those are not useless weeds. They are rather useful cumin and mint. Like the bamboo, I couldn't price them on the shelves, so I kept them next to my bed for later. And I admired quite a respectable daily summary of sales. My cow had a shiny udder on day 20, and this was the first day that the rain had bothered to show up and water my crops, so I was grateful for that.
Cabbage. Give cabbage.
I decided to try growing some sugar. It can be grown year-round apparently, and other than that, it was smooth sailing as I assisted Slow Jack and cast a line. The reputation held steady and the money flowed in.
Rick is $5.50 a day, man. That's pretty expensive. What is the next move here?
Now that things were stable, I needed to come up with profit maximization schemes.
If I get one of these doodads, it could be interesting. I need to get access to the workshop first, I think.
The workshop costs 10,000 coins to open, so I first tested buying the oven. It's the cheapest machine at 5,000 coins, but I discovered I couldn't place it down anywhere, and so, as I'd guessed, I needed to drop another 10,000 coins on the workshop. This was aggressive spending, but I hoped it would lead to some good returns. I found a spot for the oven by the workshop door.
Recipes. Does that mean 2 plates of cookies? The profit margin's gotta be pretty good on that, right? Well, maybe in spring I make a ton of wheat and I can start up a bread factory and maybe that'll be good profit, I don't know.
I bought permission to order staple goods, which added wheat to my options so I could order some for cooking if I wanted. I grabbed some fish traps and spotted a little friend.
It is a mouse, I think.
I was losing the will to fish so much, hence the investment into 9 fish traps total. That night, I earned a rich man achievement.
Spend over 20,000 coins in a single day.
Since I'd spent so much investing in a glorious oven, my order at the docks was pretty small, but my shelves were decently stocked from yesterday, and I had other ways of getting new stock now. A cheeky egg each day, a bunch of imprisoned fish getting what was coming to them, and a cellar storing quite a few locally sourced veggies. I realized I could pick flowers too.
What's the deal with these random things I'm collecting?
There was stuff to forage all over the place apparently, and so the random pile of crap in my bedroom grew. The rest of the day was pretty chill, though the profit wasn't as high as yesterday. I think because on average I'd stocked lower cost goodies. I found hyacinths, and for some reason picked up way too much bamboo. Something overtook me as I hoovered up every random flower on the map.
Yeah, go on. Let's get the spice machine. Because cumin or mint kind of makes sense.
Another 8,000 coin purchase, but I was right. The spice machine can turn wild cumin and mint into tradable stock. I was kind of confused as to how to use it, but I eventually popped 4 cumin on there.
Oh. That's what I needed to do. Okay, nice.
It takes 4 mint leaves to make a bag of mint, too.
Boom. Some mint. Oh, it's worth 98 for the mint. That's crazy. That's good. This will be like $1,000.
There are 10 mint for sale per bag, so that was indeed a great opportunity for profit.
Oh, there's more mint over here. Perfect. Oh, there's more over here as well. Oh, I'm rich. Imagine I've been collecting mint daily up until this point. I would have had like 100 mint. I would have made so much money. I mean, I'm going to start hoarding this stuff from now on, I think, because who knows what I'll be able to make.
It'd take 9 bags of mint to pay off the spice machine, but after that, all of the mint I collected would be pure profit, which I thought was delicious. The cumin sale price wasn't as impressive, but I noticed it's used in some recipes, so I decided to take it off the shelf and store it to potentially be used in cooking later. I put in the day's order, and I should mention I didn't really have a strategy for orders at this point. I just bought a variety of stuff and made sure I had money left over for my daily costs. But I was beginning to grow tired of selling lower cost goods.
Maybe I just try and sell expensive stuff and hope that I don't get in trouble for not having variety. Okay, so it looks like 1 cumin, 1 mint there.
Some examples of expensive stuff are the whiskey and wine you can see on the shelf there. Each sale of those beverages is a huge chunk of profit.
Let's see if I get punished for not having variety today. I definitely have less variety than ever before.
My cow's udder was transcending to another dimension, but instead of putting the milk straight on the shelf, I used it to christen my oven.
Give me some of that bread. Oh, how long does it take? Wait, what? Got some achievements. Use the spice machine. Bake my first treat. Well, actually, it's 3 things of bread. That's not that bad.
It's certainly better than nothing. Selling the wheat, milk, and eggs individually is way less profit than what the bread can get. Meanwhile, my reputation did not appear to be suffering. Perhaps stock variety was less important than I'd thought. I went on a foraging rampage, and it seemed all the flowers respawned daily, but the amount of cumin and mint seemed to vary. Nonetheless, plonking cumin and mint onto the spice machine became a daily job, and I saved the cumin for later, but sold all the mint. I almost forgot to empty my fish traps, and I wondered if you could catch delicious ocean beer in them, and I believe the mint helped boost profit, but the cabbages and leeks brought up from the cellar were definitely still the MVPs.
Let's just go big. Go big, man. Give me the melting machine. Give me an anvil. Give me a pickaxe.
That was another 9,000 gold worth of machines, and all of these machines also had daily maintenance costs. But as I was placing the smelter down, I realized something.
Oh, the maintenance only applies if you have it set up. Interesting. The maintenance is gone. The maintenance is there. I could just break this down literally every day. Bone. How the heck do I get bone? Oh, there's the bamboo. Leather. Oh, wait. From butchering animals? Give me a brown cow and I'm gonna butcher it in a few days.
So my next money-making endeavor involved crafting weapons, apparently, and it seemed to achieve that I needed to destroy some cows. I also bought another chicken for good measure.
I am low on everything though. This is not ideal.
The other thing I needed for my weapon crafting scheme was metal, and that's what the pickaxe was for. I revisited the mineral node I'd spotted under here and claimed some copper, and around behind the bazaar here I'd spotted another mineral. This one was zinc. I had a session figuring out how to best make use of these metals, and decided for now the answer was nothing, because I needed to steal a cow's bones first.
I think I'm just gonna break this down and just leave them like that so I don't have to pay the maintenance.
I considered doing the same with my spice machine and oven, but I ended up leaving them up because it was only 90 coins per day. And unlike the smelter and anvil, I already had a use for these contraptions. I discovered another zinc node over here. I have no idea how I never noticed it before. And that night I continued the move towards ordering more big ticket items. Mainly alcohol, to be honest. I also had my eye on Christmas's imminent arrival.
We've got 3 days till Christmas. And I need to go hard on all these things.
And that was a 27,000 revenue day.
I need to chill on buying machines like a maniac, I think.
The focus needed to shift towards stocking up to capitalize on the spending frenzy of the Christmas season. Because I bought so many expensive items, I had way less stock than usual, but it was mostly the high-end stuff. Too bad if these silly nerds can't afford $340 wine. That is all we've got. I knocked over the chores, which were kind of piling up by this point, and by early afternoon the shelves were already looking bare, but I'd earned 15,000.
So if I can get an incredibly high stock of all the expensive stuff, the amount of money I'll make is ridiculous.
Some of my traps had run out, so I placed a few more, and I checked the mineral nodes, but they hadn't yet regenerated.
I'm down to cabbage and strawberry chocolate. That's all I've got, and there's still so many people in the store. I'm not really taking a hit to reputation. Dude, I'm making so much profit today. Okay, I think the new strategy is to get a decent variety of really expensive stuff, and maybe I expand the farm. I think I expand the farm.
I spent just over 4,000 coins buying 2 more farm sections, which also added 225 to my daily costs. And while I was doing that, my shelves completely ran out of stock, and that was the final straw. I actually began losing reputation. Never fear, cabbage from the cellar is here.
There's still so many customers. Holy crap, dude. It's just a flock of cabbage-loving maniacs, and my reputation's gone back up to 100. I think variety, is a little bit important, but overrated. I thought the day was over. And there's just cabbage lovers galore. What I'd like to do is some of these year-round trees: banana, almond, cashew, hazelnut, walnut. I can plant these wherever.
And so I spent about 13,000 coins and planted a banana, almond, and cashew tree right next to each other for some reason. I regretted that immediately because these were gonna look stupid once fully grown, but oh well. I bought a bunch of leek seeds too.
This is a little bit of a problem because now I have no money. to buy stock for tomorrow.
You know how I said I was going to focus on building stock towards Christmas? Yeah, I didn't do that at all, as I invested almost all of my profit into long-term farming stuff.
I actually got through all the cabbage.
I picked up a modest order on day 24, and I couldn't really follow my new principle of buying small amounts of expensive stuff because I just needed to get something on the shelf. Hopefully 80 lollipops will take a while to sell out. I was somewhat rescued by my now fully grown Merlot lettuce, which helped me fill the shelves a little, and they were priced at a respectable $1.50, so that was nice. My cow's udder was resplendent in angelic glory, but not my goats.
This goat just doesn't want to produce. What's your problem, goat?
Say no to verbal abuse directed towards goats.
Okay, at least I can make some bread. That's good.
Yeah, at least my rampant investing was producing some stock to fill my shelves with. My foraging also resulted in more mint. I planted sugar in the space freed up by the Merlot lettuce, and it had been raining yesterday. But today I was not spared the tedium of watering my newly enlarged fields. It took about 3 minutes. I fished up some ocean whiskey though, so who can complain? I sold it during the evening hours, and that was a much needed few thousand coin boost to my day's profit. I used that profit to prep for Christmas tomorrow, and wine was on the list of marked up Christmas products, so that was good news. In fact, most of the Christmas items were relatively high cost goods, so I was hoping for big things. When I was stocking my shelves on Christmas morning, I learned big things had indeed arrived with the festive season.
Alright, what's the recommended price today? So much higher?
Yeah, it was double. The cookies, gingerbread, strawberry chocolate, and wine wasn't a mere 20 or 30% higher like the Valentine's Day markup, it was double. A single bottle of wine was set to sell for 728 coins. Absolutely bonkers. Even the fishies were double. Even better, my goat's udder was finally emitting radiation strong enough to cause damage to my corneas, which meant I was able to bake some gingerbread to add to the Christmas market rush. Goat's milk, cumin, eggs, and wheat.
That's gonna be an extra like 7 grand right there. That's crazy.
Yeah, money was flowing. In the morning alone, I earned over 17,000 coins.
Oh, this is crazy actually.
And I still had a lot of Christmas stock left. So much so that I threw the mint I'd made in the corner for now, because I didn't want to use up any of my precious sales on anything other than the ridiculously overpriced festive stock. Quite a harvest was ready too, so I began moving it into the cellar. Some collards, sugar, and Merlot lettuce. But the story of Christmas was definitely absolutely glorious consumerist excess. In the evening, the shelves became bare, so I popped some Merlot lettuce on there to ensure the customers didn't go home empty-handed. If only I'd been able to purchase more wine or cookies or something in preparation, my profit would have been even more outrageous. But as it was, I ended the day with well over 60,000 coins, a new record by far. I spent about 6 years watering my crops to celebrate.
Hey, Marge, you reckon you move just like over here? Just Marge, give me a kiss. Hello, Rudolph. Why you gotta do me like that? Now it costs double to order. I needed to buy it all in advance. That's a shame. Well, I think I still go for it, right? Because it sells for double.
I should have known the price increase would apply to orders too. But imagine if I'd stocked up more at the regular price. The Christmas profit could have been bonkers.
Make a sale of 50,000 coins. Place an order worth more than 40,000 coins.
But the 25th of winter had been a massive injection of cash, and that rolled into the 26th. Yes, I had to pay more for the stock, but I was still able to afford a much bigger order than I had yesterday, and there was still a chunky profit margin to be enjoyed. And at least the silly trapped fish didn't cost double. I did a little cooking, a little helping at the checkout to keep the customer churn looking healthy. I plucked herbs, and I added a bunch more fish traps. I had 2 more days of the Christmas event, so I figured I might as well go hard on the fish. I noticed the mineral nodes had rejuvenated, so I did some mining.
There's mint over here as well. Oh man.
And it was an even bigger day than yesterday, as I finished up just shy of 80,000 coins.
Successful mission. Still got some chestnuts. Somehow got some cookies still.
By the way, my trees were growing up. No fruit yet though. And of course, there was only one thing to do. Reinvest all the profit into even more Christmas stock. Some leeks were ready on day 27, but I didn't want anything but Christmas stuff on my shelves. So this was an added benefit of the Christmas event. I was gonna have heaps of bonus winter farm stock ready to go once spring rolled around. 16 crates of leeks so far. The day chugged by and I did the usual chores, and it was of course another money-making record.
Very productive. I started losing reputation towards the end of the day because I'm so low on stuff.
If you, for example, have 1 bottle of wine left, 3 customers might arrive and all decide they want it, but of course only 1 can. And the other 2 get angry and they yell, "I couldn't find wine," because they're too dumb to fight the other customer to death in combat for the wine, and instead they blame me. So basically, running out of stuff often meant my reputation suffered. But other than that, I'd been steady at max.
I mean, I got 1 more day. Do I milk it 1 more day?
Of course you do, you peanut. Reinvest that 94,000 into Christmassy delights. My reputation had ended a bit low though, which was set to make the final day of the festive season a bit less efficient. But I believe the Christmas event had doubled my capacity, so I still had a busy day, with lots of wine.
If they don't buy the wine, I'm gonna make a loss on the wine, or I have to keep the wine until next Christmas to sell it at a profit.
Buy the wine, you raging alcoholics. Buy it now.
So much cumin. Look at all the cumin piling up. The pile of random crap is great. I can't wait to craft all that stuff. Buy the wine, buy the cookies. I mean, preferably buy the wine. Oh, we're so close. We're on 85. We can do the 100.
These sweet tooth fools kept prioritizing cookies, so I banned the cookies and turned into a wine-only shop for the remainder of the evening.
Become hopelessly inebriated. Good man, buy 4 wine. Oh yeah, we've zoomed past 100,000 now. All right, good. Hiding those cookies was good. Looks like we're gonna get all the wine going, so let's try to get the cookies going too. I apologize for the lack of variety. All right, I think that's the last customer. 129,434 coins. Jack, that's a big day, mate. Well played. 5 cookies left over. Not only that, but I stockpiled a decent amount of crap during that time. Kind of regret growing these close together. It looks a bit messy.
I now needed to figure out what to do with my riches and how to prepare for the onset of spring. Long story short, I bought everything.
Give me the alcohol machine. I think I put it down the wrong way.
This thing makes beverages of the alcoholic variety. I soon worked out that wine was probably the best choice for year-round profit. More on that later.
I do have a lot of sugar. I'm pretty sure sugar is going to be an ingredient in jam, so I'm getting the jam machine as well.
I was correct about sugar being an ingredient in all the jam options, and spring was about to arrive, and strawberries are a spring crop, so strawberry jam was going to be a good shout. Also, I spotted some little creatures buzzing.
Now I have to do this. All right, and then I'm just doing this now. I don't care. And then do I have to put these bees in? Yeah.
And it seemed a safe bet that honey would show up to collect from the hive at some point.
Actually, I feel like potion boiler is probably a good idea as well, because there's so many free flowers around.
The flowers could indeed be used to make various outrageous potions, such as the love potion and the pleasure potion. I then had a session cleaning up, which helped me find some specific flowers.
Got sugar, blue iris, tulips. Wait, give me stamina potion? Yeah. Hey. Literally 1 potion. I wonder how much it sells for. Let's have a look. 875.
I then did even more cleaning up, until I had very clean, giant piles of flowers.
This cow is fully grown, yeah? Oh dear. Meat, leather, bone. Well, I got the achievement for butchering some meat. Delicious.
Each slab of meat sold for a whopping 960, and the cow had yielded up 4 shanks too, worth 260 each. And there was a third piece of meat still in the barn, so it appeared butchering cows was about to scream to the top of the money-making tier list.
Buy for 600, let her grow over 4 days, and then butcher her after 4 days. 110 maintenance per day, 440, so 1,040 plus a bit of grass. The grass is negligible, like an extra 50 maybe. Just under 1,100 coins on the cow. And it gives you
3,920 coins. But the bones and leather can also be used to craft weapons. I slapped 4 zinc ore onto the smelter and fired it up, earning the achievement to smelt something.
Oh, well, there's my first ingot.
I made some brass ingots combining 2 zinc and 2 copper ore, and I whacked 2 zinc ingots, 2 brass ingots, and the singular bone the cow had given me onto the anvil. Apparently, it was just a 1-boned cow. I put some leather on there too, and then it was time to go buy a hammer. Except I got distracted.
I'm getting the meat cutter, man. I don't care. I need to investigate this. Wait, I need the hammer. I forgot the hammer. I'm spending so much money. I mean, to be fair, I still have 87 grand left.
So without even using the meat cutter, I could earn about 4,000 coins out of 1 cow worth of meat. But with the meat cutter, I could produce a bunch of interesting cuts of meat.
Alright, but first, let's do this. Commander sword.
And another achievement for using an anvil to craft a weapon. I bought a weapon rack from the lumberjack and placed it here, and upon it I laid my glorious blade.
2,040, okay.
It was a whole ordeal to craft the sword between mining and smelting and cow stabbing, but that is a handy bit of cash. I then made use of the meat cutter, placing all 3 chunks of meat upon it, which were cut into filet mignon. That earned me yet another achievement. I was on quite an achievement spree. I placed the shanks on there too, which I cut into sausages. That squeezed about 200 more coins out of the shanks, though the prospect of having to sell 30 items at the low price of 42 wasn't my favorite. But the filet mignon was incredibly juicy. There were 10 cuts for sale at 420 a piece, so that's 4,200 total, meaning the meat cutter would help me to earn an extra 1,320 coins out of the 3 chunks of meat. It was official. Butchering cows is insane. But wait, forget not the glory of cheese.
It has to be done. This is the final machine.
Yes, indeed. With that, I had all of the machines the engineer had to offer. And the cheese machine was capable of producing aged cheese, brie, and parmesan. All those cheese options are high sale price goodies, so I concluded the oven was not my favorite, because all the dishes required milk, and I decided I'd rather cheesify any milk stolen from the shiny udders in my barn. I also banished my horse, because it was a useless, smelly horse. I used the space freed up in the barn to jam as many meat cows in there as possible.
I'll leave my knife here just to kind of let you guys know what's to come. Yeah, they both looked. That added 440 maintenance a day, so that's kind of crazy, but it'll pay off.
I then bought the greenhouse expansion for 6,000 coins, adding a cost of 250 rent per day too. And even though it would literally be springtime in the morning, I chose to buy strawberry seeds to plant in the greenhouse. And then I realized,
Oh, strawberries are spring anyway. I can just grow them normally. What am I doing? At the moment, I'm pretty much only going to use this regularly, so I think I'm just going to shove the rest of these machines on the ground like an absolute gremlin and save myself a bunch of maintenance fees.
I then bought all the strawberry seeds I'd need to fill my fields. I bought access to 2 more fields, but then I was like, hang on, what am I doing? The meat cows are by far the juiciest, so I bought access to the 2nd and 3rd barns, which wasn't actually that costly. But I only bought 4 more brown cows for now, even though I could fit at least double that, because I'd finally run low on money, and I felt that I needed to spend the remaining 20-odd thousand on an order of goods. This was almost definitely a mistake. I should have gone all in on the beef, but I'd been introduced to so many new money-making opportunities that I was a bit bamboozled. Nonetheless, I had 8 brown cows total, so I was set for a meaty time 4 days hence.
Wait, there's a snake. Oh, there's a dog right here. What the heck?
That brought me up to 5 out of 12 origami, and it inspired me to go on the hunt.
Gotta be some origami over here somewhere. Told you. What is that, a little rat?
I found a rooster atop the hut on the docks too. Make that 7 out of 12 Japanese foldy things. I'd dragged this night on for literally an hour by this point, as I'd gotten slightly sidetracked investigating about 300 different machines. But finally, it was time to go to bed for the end of winter.
127,000 in sales, and then I spent a ridiculous amount of money, mostly on those machines. Holy crap.
I began spring by checking what special events were coming up, and Flower Fest was on in a few days, so I decided I'd stock up for that. The sword sold almost instantly, which was concerning. Hopefully the dude who bought it wasn't a psycho. I took some fish up to the meat cutter, shoved 4 brown fish on there, and that was refined into 24 pieces of cut up brown fish. Each cut only sold for 13 though, which went against my preference for selling expensive stuff, so I decided I was better off just selling the fish whole. The Christmas event had doubled my capacity, and now that it was over I was back down to just 13, which made the store feel a lot quieter. Regardless, it was still a respectable day, and I was selling lots of big ticket items, so the profit was solid. But I was going to need to take steps to attract more customers. I planted some strawberries, but decided to put a pause on the rest and instead planted stuff in preparation for Flower Fest, some roses and scallions. And I bought some more fields, so I now had 9 total and crops galore. At this point, the daily tasks were really piling up, between juggling all my money-making ventures and ensuring the store itself actually had stock on the shelf, and making sure none of it went rotten. The grind was on. I ordered some loganberries and gooseberries overnight, which I stored in the cellar in preparation for Flower Fest.
Give me a big wooden stand, man.
Because I was attracting less customers, the stock wasn't going as fast, and therefore I had too much stock, and therefore I needed more space. I bought a big fish stand too. I also bought the next market upgrade, which adds +3 potential capacity.
My rent is up to 2.2 grand.
And it of course also added a little more space. My leeks and other winter crops were carrying during these early spring days, and I could have actually raised their price a little, because the recommended price changes season by season, so off-season crops are actually more valuable. I didn't realize this until later, so I lost out on quite a bit of money. Also, it was official. I had way more chores than could possibly be done in the daylight hours, so there was nothing to do but keep at it deep into the night. With the extra fields, watering now took 4 minutes. I ended up buying 2 more market upgrades, adding another 300 to my daily rent, and the extra space was nice, but mainly I wanted the higher customer capacity so I could sell stuff faster. I rearranged the shelves to better make use of the expanded space. I continued ordering a mix of stuff, with an emphasis on expensive alcohol and cheese, but I also dabbled in some cheaper stuff, because I wasn't a cheese wine purist yet. And with the extra shelves and more customers thanks to the upgrades, the market felt lively. The problem was I felt compelled to help slow Jack, but I had about 300 other things I should be doing.
I keep finding it hard to resist doing Jack's job for him, because he's just such a dingus. The mint and cumin loop is a time-honored tradition.
Finally, one of my trees had a gift for me, some almonds. That earned me the achievement for harvesting from a tree, and even though I wasn't a fan of the low 26 coin price tag, I shoved the almonds on the shelf. My capacity was at 25, so we were back to Christmas levels of busy, and here I go helping slow Jack again. I then began noticing the seasonal price difference, as I had to adjust the prices of some items, and some bananas were ready too, and they had a more agreeable price point. 54 isn't bad for a bendy yellow.
I've been forgetting to water inside the flamin' greenhouse, dude.
Dingus. I then bought some trees.
Probably shouldn't be wasting money on this right now because I'm trying to prepare for an event, but I just can't resist.
As you can see, I positioned them between the fields, and the plan was to plant an army of trees in the field long term. Flower Fest was set to begin tomorrow, so I ordered some more stock for that, including so many roses and so many gooseberries. Gooseberries everywhere. I was hoping this would be a repeat of the Christmas profit glory, but I hadn't really thought it through. Firstly, the Christmas items were mostly big price tag items, and secondly, the markup at Christmas was 100%. The Flower Fest items were all lower cost, and the markup was only about 25%. It wasn't really worth it, but all I could do was make the most of it.
I mean, at least the town looks pretty with all the flower stuff up.
Also, my brown cows were looking chunky.
Holy dooly, the butchering is absolutely brutal.
I had plenty of meat to cut, but Jack needed my help, and it was a little overwhelming. I squeezed in some meat processing when I had the chance. And ultimately, Flower Fest was a flop. I had way too much stock, and the average sale price was sad. And so, despite it being a special event, my earnings were lower than they'd been since before Christmas. But at least I had 2 barns worth of meat to process. I tested out combining meat with shanks in different combos, and I stored all the meat in the cellar for now. I refilled 2 of my barns with brown cows, and I had a lot of bones and leather after my cow murdering spree, so I spent some time crafting weapons. I had to ration the ore I'd collected to figure out which ingots I could make in order to make as many weapons as possible. And in the process, I found a use for the stupid amount of bamboo I'd collected, as I crafted some Amazon bows. These had a sale price of $14.30 each.
I'm gonna have a bunch of roses and scallions. See, this was a big mistake. Growing the roses and scallions was a big mistake.
They were going to be ready tomorrow for the second day of Flower Fest, but I really did not need any more floral stock. Also, the watering was a nightmare, so I finally bought a sprinkler. The reason I hadn't bought one yet was because it had a whopping 250 coin daily maintenance fee, but I needn't have worried. I tested it, and it spat out streams of water in a decent radius. And then I realized if you pick it up and place it again, it once again spits out water. I'd assumed it would be a once per day thing like in Stardew Valley, but nope. And of course I could just leave it packed up in order to avoid the maintenance cost. I was really wishing I'd bought one earlier. Since I didn't really need any more stock for tomorrow, I spent 10,000 coins on a lovely painting.
There we go, we've got a beautiful painting up. My new max potential rep is 109.
The higher reputation would result in a higher potential customer capacity. So this wasn't just pretty, it was also an investment towards growing the popularity of the market. Also, I was raging about how Flower Fest had let me down.
A bunch of low cost crap. It's just not worth.
And now I had 1 billion more roses to harvest, but the scallions I'd planted weren't even ready, because the 13 worms in my brain had somehow misjudged how long they'd take to grow.
Oh, the bananas are rotten already? I'm up to 109 reputation, so that's a new record. I think I just plant more straws, right? Plant more and more straws. Alright, now I'll use this thing. How far does it reach?
The sprinkler was a lifesaver. It saved me a good percentage of my sanity. Also, some cashews were ready.
I'll save this all for once the fest is over. I'll try and get rid of as many roses. Like, I've got 1 billion fish. Like, this is ridiculous. I got my first honey harvest. Got another achievement for harvesting honey. Yeah, I can make pleasure potions. Zinnia, hyacinth, honey.
And so I was able to brew the most important potion in all the land.
Alright, we got a pleasure potion. Let's put it right here. Sells for 1,800, not bad.
I was selling so many items on this lovely day 5 of spring, but my money was just not going up very fast. Flamin' Flower Fest.
The Flower Fest sucks, man. Has this been here the whole time? There's a mineral node right here.
This one had some iron ore for me. Flower Fest was now over, but look how many Flower Fest items I still had on my shelf. Oh dear.
I think I just don't care about this scallion. It's not worth selling stuff that's so cheap.
The junk man actually gave me decent money for the rejected stock. I'm not sure if it was the cost price or what, but it was better than a complete loss. And it was definitely better than filling up my shelves with crappy low-cost items, as the scallions only sold for 20 during Flower Fest, so they'd be even worse during normal trading tomorrow. On the bright side, I wasn't gonna run out of stuff to sell anytime soon. I bought some more trees and expanded the tree line.
2 green apple trees, 2 walnut trees, 2 hazelnut, 2 cherries.
The cherry trees only produce fruit in spring, but the others are year-round. Overall though, this was a terrible investment. It was more of a completionist thing that I wanted to do. Establishing my goat army though, that was not a terrible investment. I started with 15, and this was the beginning of my aged cheese production line. Aged cheese only takes goat milk, while brie and parmesan need cow's milk. Cows produce every 2 days and goats every 3 days, but cows are flamin' enormous. Goats were definitely the way to scale up the cheese.
15 goats will produce goat milk every 3 days once they've grown up. The chickens will produce eggs every day. Rather large amount of cumin I'm saving up, and I can get more every day. I'll be able to make aged cheese.
I needed more goats to get the operation into full swing, but this was a good start. On day 6 of spring, it was time to bring a bunch of meat up from the cellar. The ribeye crate had 6 steaks for sale at $5.62 per. There were 6 racks at $5.94 each, and the strip steak had 5 pieces at $4.38. I was happy with all of those options because those are big sale numbers. By afternoon, the team at Goodies by Floydson had already pulled sales numbers higher than either of the pathetic Flower Fest days. This is definitive proof that meat beats Flower flour. My goat army wasn't ready to produce yet, but I was able to throw together some brie.
2 milk, 1 goat milk, 1 mint. Brie. Brilliant. Make cheese at the cheese machine. Heck yes. Look at that cheesing.
I then stared at the cheese machine for quite a while.
My aged cheese plan is going to be ruined if this takes forever. This cheese is not finishing. No, it might be overnight.
If it was overnight production, I was going to need multiple cheese machines to make full use of my goat army. For now though, the glory of selling heaps of meat was revealing itself, as my wallet filled to almost 50,000 coins. I upgraded the market again, meaning I would attract even more customers tomorrow, and I discovered all the meat had sold except some sausages. That night, I was rambling to myself about how best to approach the cheese industry, and this happened.
Problem is... Oh no. No! I just picked it up while it was still... Damn it.
Yeah, I wasted the brie that was being made. That was a big goose effort, and I don't even know what I was trying to do. But I googled the cheese production time at this point and confirmed it was indeed an overnight thing. I added some more trees to the tree line, I discovered some strawberries were ready, so I earned the achievement for harvesting crops from the greenhouse, and suddenly I was able to make use of the jam machine. I popped some strawberries and sugar on there and fired it up.
Produce jam at the jam machine for the first time. Churning through the achievements.
I began prepping for the next batch of jam, and soon it was done. 1 crate of strawberries and 1 sack of sugar produced a crate of 24 strawberry jam jars.
The jam sells for 50, but you have 24, so it increases the profit margin by about 450.
That would be true if it only made 1 crate of jam, but it actually makes 2.
1 strawberry made 2 strawberry jams. What the heck?
To squeeze even more profit out of the straws, the potion cauldron was the next step. Combined with 4 flowers of choice, the jam can bring some serious love.
And it's worth 1440. Okay. This is a lot of busy work.
I'd run out of flowers soon enough, and then I'd be limited to the 5 per day of each variety that I could pick. But for tonight, I was able to go nuts with the love potions. I harvested more strawberries, I kept the jam machine working overtime, and the same goes for the potion cauldron.
So many straws, holy dooly.
And eventually I was down to my last sack of sugar, and I ran out of hyacinths for the potions too.
We got 17 love potions, 1440 each. So this is a fair bit of money. So the conversion from strawberries to love potions is kind of crazy.
It was definitely a lucrative operation.
Look like I'm ready for Valentine's Day. Yeah, I'm gonna save all these strawberries to turn into jam.
I replanted my fields, including planting the other spring crop options to see if they were decent, and I added some stone shelves to the store.
I mean, I think at this point, it's important to get the dog and the cat. He's wandering around. They wander around. Yeah.
I bought another painting for 6,000 coins too, and all up, those purchases added 10 more max reputation to the market.
Just a dog wandering around. Don't wee on the stands, bro. Resist.
I bought cranberry and red currant seeds. They were both out of season, but I was able to grow them in the greenhouse. And the plan was to use these to eventually make wine using the alcohol machine. The only other ingredient in wine is roses, which I had plenty of, and the other 3 alcohol options required chestnuts, which only grow on trees in autumn, and trees can't be placed in the greenhouses. As such, I decided wine was the winner, as I'd be able to produce it year-round easily. Also, I hired another buffhead to help Jack out.
Old mate started. I don't even know what... Wait, which one's Jack again? I don't know. We got 2 dudes now though. The new guy is Rick. I expect I won't have to help you much today, but we'll see what happens.
Surely with 2 checkouts, I could be confident the queues wouldn't get too huge.
All right, here we go. Rick's getting some work in. Good man. Now that I've kind of figured out what I'm doing, I gotta stop being so slow, man. I've just taken so long the last couple of days deliberating all night.
It's true, I'd planned out several money-making schemes. It was now time to execute and figure out if any of them were actually good.
I think it's time I got a big boat. 400 maintenance is brutal.
Uh-oh, I found another thing to distract me.
Well, that is a big boat. Holy dooly. Get an advanced fishing rod.
The boat came complete with a lovely map, showing the locations of the various fish I could catch. I'd bought a paddle, so I slapped it into the water and got on the move.
I think that rock is this. So there should be a special type of fish here. Do you reckon I can see it in the water?
I swam around like a sea otter for a while, definitely longer than reasonable, surely I should have drowned, but eventually I spotted some friends.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's bring my boat over here.
I bought some buoys, or buoys, as you ridiculous Americans call them, so I placed one down to mark the spot. And I placed some fish traps as an experiment to see if special fish could be caught in traps.
So many minerals over there. Oh, I caught beer. I'll take it.
I caught beer, but I couldn't catch whatever the special fish was, so I got bored and swam off to collect some minerals. There were several nodes on this one bigger island. I also checked around for origami, and quickly found one on top of this big old rock, a blue creature of some description. I ended up with quite a few iron, zinc, and copper ores dumped in my boat. I returned home and transported my haul back to the workshop, and I donated the monkey to the museum. I was now up to 8 out of 12. I also bought access to the second greenhouse for 8,000 coins, and I planted more red currants and cranberries in there.
My daily costs are now almost 7 grand.
It was getting a little ridiculous, but my daily sales were pretty juicy, so it was manageable. I bought exclusively cheese and alcohol that night because I was beginning to understand the need for purity. Here's some great news. The sprinkler can water the greenhouse crops as the water somehow penetrates the glass. Wonderful. And then I finally realized I'd been scammed by the leaks.
I think the recommended is 114 in winter because that's the season it grows in, but now that we're off season and it's spring, it's actually worth so much more.
I harvested way too many onions. Why did I plant so many onions? And great news, the cows were fat and my blade was sharp. Meat was set to rain down upon the people. I cut most into racks, using 2 meat and 1 shank for each. This was the most efficient way to use up all the shanks, so it made the most sense. And with any leftover meat, I cut filet mignon. I also stabbed my milk cow, because she was using up too much space and I didn't really need cow milk for anything. That made space for another meat cow, so I now had 5 in the first barn, 5 in the second, and it was time to add 5 more goats to the third. I also squeezed in 2 more cows, so my next meat day would involve butchering 12 cows total. I'd finally sold most of the leftover Flower Fest stuff, although a few sneaky gooseberries had somehow survived this long. As I was stocking the shelves in preparation for the next day, I realized I'd forgotten my order on the docks. I'd been wondering why the day's profit had felt a little low, and that explains it, but I was now set for an enormous day tomorrow. This shelf here is almost exclusively high-value items, plus gooseberries for good measure. I did not forget to pick up my order on day 9 of spring, and it was exclusively alcohol. I had trees to harvest, and a rather large quantity of strawberries too. Lettuce was also ready, and with that I concluded all of the spring crops were pretty crap. My original goat's udder was causing my lumen meter to explode, so I now had enough goat milk to make my first aged cheese. I made sure not to destroy it this time. I had heaps of bones from yesterday's cow destruction, so I turned my attention to weapon crafting. This of course involved smelting the piles of ore I'd mined a couple of nights back, and it took forever.
Alright, getting some red bows out of the iron.
But eventually I'd managed to use up most of the ore and all of the bones.
Okay, I actually got so many weapons. What is going on?
In the background, I'd had a massive day, earning over 70,000 coins. I bought a big weapon rack and hung up all the bows, which weren't worth as much as the weapons I'd made previously, but it was still solid. But overall, I was losing faith in the weapon industry.
I mean, it's profit. It's just taking me forever to do. Give me a glorious long rug.
Yes, that is a lovely long rug. I then impulsively maxed out the size of the market, which added a whopping 32 to the max capacity, and it obviously meant I now had all the possible room for activities, and a convenient new door on the cellar side. Because my customer flow was set to go through the roof tomorrow, I whacked a ton of strawberries on the shelves because I had made a decision regarding jam. I couldn't be bothered. I didn't have enough time in a day to tackle every industry, and the jam plus the potions were underperforming, considering how time-consuming it was. And honestly, it would be a relief to not have to pick flowers every day. Day 10 of spring saw my capacity zoom up to 71, and somehow I had more onions to harvest. Why though? And while it was definitely busier, it wasn't as juicy of a profit day, because I had a fair bit of crap on the shelves, mainly strawberries. Along with the jam and the potions, I also decided I couldn't be bothered crafting weapons anymore. It was also too much of a chore. Cutting it out of my business would mean I wouldn't have to collect ore, and I of course wouldn't have to do all the smelting and blacksmithing silly willies.
I'm beginning to think that all this capital is not even a good way to get profit. I think the best way to get profit is literally just buy expensive stuff and sell it again. Buy, sell, just keep leveraging the margin from the orders. I think that's actually the best way.
Honestly, it could well be. It'd mean you'd never spend thousands on the workshop and the machines, and you would drastically reduce rent and maintenance daily costs. But it would also be quite boring. And butchering cows was definitely competitive as a money-making scheme, and there was still hope for cheese and wine too.
Oh, I got greyfish.
I don't know if I got lucky, but I ended up with 3 greyfish from those traps, so that was a mission success. I next rode towards swordfish, which the map said were located on the far side of this island. And even though there was a ton of minerals respawned there, I ignored them in protest of the weapons industry. I looked around these waters for a while, until finally the pointy-nosed beastie popped onto my screen. I began fishing, and it only took 6 or 7 casts for me to catch one.
I got the big fella.
I considered leaving fish traps, but I felt like the swordfish would surely be too big for the traps, so I moved off in this direction. Once I neared these islands, I hopped out to check for origami, but had no luck. The map suggested there was another fish variety nearby, so I plopped in and admired the seaweed shimmer before eventually finding these handsome fishies.
Oh, there they are. They don't spawn in until you're so close. Alright.
I'd had enough seafaring for the night, so I dropped some traps and headed back to land.
Greyfish 243. Alright, 1950, okay. Well, maybe fishing's where it's at. If you can get that in a fish trap, that might be worth it.
I gave my 2 new fish to the museum, and to round out the day I added some glorious artworks to my market wall, and made a very pure order of alcohol and cheese.
This is a game where I have lots of eggs. So many eggs. Reputation up to 125.
I harvested quite a lot of sugar and planted a bunch of roses, because I'd abandoned my strawberry jam plan, and as I said earlier, I'd concluded all the other spring crops were pretty crap, so roses for winemaking purposes was the decent option. Also, some of my trees were bearing fruit, so I chucked some walnuts and hazelnuts on the shelf. That wasn't really a pure thing to do, but who doesn't love nuts? Especially because all my expensive stock had sold out by this point. But then I realized that was because I forgot to get my order from the docks again. Never mind, do not buy the nuts. Keep your blood pure and buy cheese and alcohol only, please.
Pretty much just gonna turn into a meat and liquor store. Maybe some cheese thrown in.
Oh yeah, meat is fine too, but that only shows up every 4 days. I sunk a lot of the day's profit into rose seeds, and honestly, who knows if it was worth it. Maybe long term it would be. But either way, I felt obliged to fill my fields with crops. And shout out to mint. I still made bags of mint every day. Long live mint. I continued my practice of simply junking some of the low-cost crap I didn't want to waste space on my shelves, which included a lot of onions. I grew way more onions than necessary. And I continued my new practice of regularly buying decorative items to continue slowly raising my max reputation. On this particular day, I added quite a few trinkets and doodads into the mix, including a ship and a bird to guard my back door. I seem to be reaching 50,000 coins each day at this point, and the cheese and alcohol orders were the backbone of the economy. I'd also put about 3 million strawberries on the shelves, and apparently that was too many because heaps of them had gone rotten, so I had a session donating stinky fruit to the junk man. Beyond that, it was the usual, until I realized 15 of my goat army had created a constellation of radiant udders. Also, my cows were ready for the blade. This was going to be a busy day. I trashed the bones and leather, because as established, I was now a pacifist, and the thought of manufacturing weapons made me vomit. But then again, I probably wasn't particularly passive in my treatment of those 12 cows, because here I go, processing their fresh meat. I'd only ever butchered 8 cows in a day before, so this was obviously my biggest meat influx yet, and that was reflected in the day's profit as I filled the shelves with the finest cuts. I ended the day's trading on 86,000 coins, and I still had meat left over for tomorrow. For my next mission, I needed to clean up the workshop.
I got much better use of space for this workshop. All the time I spent picking these flowers and just wasting them, just getting rid of them in an instant.
Get rid of the flamin' bamboo too, please.
These 3 machines are now irrelevant, and I get half the price back, I think.
RIP to the smelter, anvil, and potion boiler. Also these weapon racks and my useless horse.
Just gonna grind up my horse there. Sorry, buddy.
I don't know why I hung onto the jam machine, but this junk session actually returned a fair bit of money.
We have to give the cheese an honest attempt, so I need 3 more cheese machines.
I still needed to clean up a bit, starting with shoving all the sugar I no longer needed on the shelf. I was delighted to see it sells for 130. That's actually quite juicy.
Alright, we got cumin on there, we got eggs, which I have a lot of eggs in the cellar, so go bang. Bang. Alright, so 2 goat milk, 1 egg, 1 cumin. Cheese. I can sort of prep for tomorrow's goat cheese as well by putting the cumin on in advance.
I did likewise with the goat milk, and the cheese industry came to life, as I was guaranteed at least 2 days in a row of aged cheese production. And I realized I could fit 2 more goats here, which was another step towards having those 4 cheese machines working daily without pause. This felt like a glorious start to my cheese empire, which got me excited, so I bought the final 2 greenhouses so that I could surge towards an efficient wine industry too. It was rather expensive and added 1,300 rent to my daily costs, but at least I got more cranberries and red currants into the ground. I had a bunch of replanting in the main fields to do too, so I leaked more money buying rose seeds. And it's obligatory to decorate, so I added another artwork to the wall. And after a massive day of profit, I somehow had barely any money with which to order goods, especially considering my daily costs were now about 11,000 coins.
Give me the cheese. Boom. 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 Alright, the cheese operation is in Swinger. It's a swingin'. So this is going to be 12 grand a day guaranteed.
I'd spent 40,000 on cheese machines and about 10,000 on goats, plus a bunch of daily maintenance costs, but it'd pay itself off soon enough. I squeezed 1 more goat in, and that finalized the cheese operation. Once all my goat friends were producing sweet milk, I'd be equipped to produce 4 cheese per day non-stop. I had 1 more chicken than I needed though, so I ground this one up into oblivion. The beef and the cheese now both had the Floydson tick of approval, and I was feeling good about that. And so the grind continued. I made a bold declaration.
I actually think bananas are the best tree.
I almost dreaded harvest days at this point, as it was a lot of work ferrying stuff around 5 at a time, but a lovely pile of roses began forming in the cellar, so that was beautiful to see. Pretty much all I had left to conquer on land was the wine industry. Out on the sea was a different story. I had some more fish to welcome into the fold. Sadly, these traps failed to catch the special fish at this location, so I whipped out my rod and cast a line.
Oh, we got something new. We got a carp. Okay. Oh, here we go. That's what we wanted. There's a bunch of mint on this island too.
I grabbed the bull and scouted out another special fish location, and it wasn't long before I pulled up a green fish. I checked every island as I went, and I had high hopes there'd be more origami atop this hilly one, but no such luck. After a bit more paddling, I tracked down the shark. When I began fishing here, I had about 20 casts left on my rod, and 20 casts later, I was yet to catch a shark.
Nope. Broke my rod. Caught this many things, plus a whiskey.
I set up all my fish traps and hoped for the best. As expected, neither the green fish nor the carp had impressive sale prices, but I of course donated them to the museum to reach 6 out of 9 fishies.
I am also missing 3 more origami. I'm not sure where they would be, but there's the bull.
Some of the origami I'd already collected had randomly reappeared though, so I popped a dragon here. Look at all the bevies, and behold the old cheese. Goodies by Floydson is truly a wonderful market.
Red currant, cranberry, rose, bomb. Alright, so that's going to take 2 days to make wine.
I finally had red currant and cranberries ready, hence the official launch of my wine industry, but it was just the one alcohol machine for now.
Got to do the cumin and mint run, the Q-mint run, if you will. I feel like bananas are a good shelf filler, right? Because you can't only sell expensive stuff or you will run out of stock, although it seemed to be doing alright for stock today because I got so much alcohol.
I headed out to my shark traps, but I sadly caught 0 sharks overnight. I bought 2 new advanced rods with me, so it was time to get busy fishing. It took another 25 casts, I think because sharks are the rarest fish in the game, but finally I caught one.
Hey, there we go. Baby shark, do 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 do. I think I'm going to leave these here. I'm very curious if the baby shark can be caught like that.
I tracked down some orange roughies and caught one after only a few casts.
Why is it flashing? What is that? Oh, it's a mineral. The mineral catches the moonlight.
The final special fish was marked on the map not too far from the shore of the main island.
Oh, here we go. Oh, they're terrifying. No, I got it already. The swordfish is worth quite a lot, but it's very far away. I think the shark's gonna be worth a lot, also very far away. If these are worth a decent amount, they're quite close, like that close to shore. It'd be quite easy to place like 50 fish traps there and collect them relatively quickly. It's 520. What's the shark worth? 2,500, huge. The roughie's 715 as well. Bomb, bomb, bomb. We're done. Oh, I got 10,000 coins for that. We are done with the aquarium.
I really like how the museum is visible as you wander around the town. It looks quite nice. And then it was time to buy a ridiculous amount of fish traps. Trying to get all these in the boat while only having 5 inventory slots available to make use of was a headache. So I almost immediately lost faith in the plan. But I needed to test if sending octopi extinct was a good way to make money. So down went about 50 traps. By the way, my daily earnings had ballooned to over 80,000 thanks to the purity of my stock. So I of course reinvested it all into alcohol and cheese.
It's the husbandry fest and I didn't realize, so I may lose a lot of reputation. But I am pleased to see a lot of random cows around. That makes me happy.
But my reputation didn't really suffer that much, even though I was disappointing a lot of customers with my lack of husbandry fest fare.
I mean, this might be evidence that the reason I lost so much reputation back in the day. I got a capacity of 101, by the way. I think I might have lost reputation back in the day, mostly because I sucked at cleaning. Maybe they just don't complain if they get copious amounts of alcohol. We got a big goat milk day. This is good. This is good news for cheese.
I'd run out of goat milk, so my cheese machines hadn't been used last night. But today, all 20 of the goats in my third barn were blessed with luminescent teats, which, as I said, was a big day for cheese. It was a big day for roses too, and I couldn't help but think that I probably didn't need this many roses. But still, I replanted with yet more roses.
How is today so much less profitable? What is going on?
Firstly, the day isn't over, mate. Secondly, you just bought a billion rose seeds.
Let's go 2 more alcohol machines. Let's go 3. It's only 80 maintenance. It's so cheap.
I only had enough cranberries and red currants to make use of one of these immediately, so I think I may have gotten a little ahead of myself.
Lily figurine, lion figurine, globe. Beautiful. Glorious.
I of course kept doing these quick little chores each day, which added a smidge of profit here and there to complement my core industries. And here I go to see if the octopi deserve a place among those lauded industries. There were quite a few octopi, so it wasn't a failure, but collecting from all these traps was finicky and time consuming. So that sealed the deal for me. It just wasn't worth it.
Maybe 8 octopi out of, I don't know how many that was, like 50. But even still, that's only like 4 grand.
Yeah, that's not enough to justify the time sink, but it was a worthy experiment. From here on out, I was just grinding out the days because I wanted to buy every upgrade and get my reputation as high as possible.
My octopi selling? The octopi are selling out fast. The people love it.
I finalized the layout of my workshop.
Meat grinder, spice thingo, 4 cheese thingos, 4 wine thingos. Squeeze these together a bit closer and fit more if I want.
Day 16 of spring was a meat day, so I was busy with that, but the profit soared higher than ever, excluding Christmas, and I still had some meat left over. Of course, I was kept busy by the farm too, between the crops and the trees. All the trees' produce was immediately delivered to the junk man, excluding bananas. That night, I knocked over a very important job. I decked out my market and locked in its final layout. It took almost an hour, during which I bought all the remaining decorative items available to me and a bunch more shelves. And I completely rearranged the layout to better use the entire space of the market. I placed rugs in front of every stand, and I added a bunch more lighting too.
I like how the fish stand is near the cat. It's clearly genius. Actually, I kind of need one more checkout, don't I?
There was a third checkout worker available to hire, so I rearranged to add that third checkout. And after some final adjustments, it was done.
A bit more space now. Yeah, that works. Cool. And a third checkout, which means we can hire old mate.
And so I hired Elisa, the final checkout helper. I continued my mission to plant 2 of every tree type along the sides of the fields, and then I spent way too much money unlocking 5 more fields. I wasn't paying attention to my coins, and now I definitely wasn't going to be able to afford my daily expenses.
Crap.
It's all good though, you only lose if you're below 0 3 days in a row. The problem was, I wasn't able to afford my hires. So on this day, I had 0 checkout helpers, and even worse, I had no marge to do the cleaning. As soon as my money moved back into the positive, I bought a broom, and I was stuck in the store all day, frenetically moving around serving customers at all 3 checkouts and scanning for dirty spots to ensure I cleaned them as soon as possible. Somehow I kept my reputation high, as it maxed out at a new high of 181, thanks to all the new decorative stuff I'd added overnight. And I believe rugs reduced the chance that dirt gets left behind by 50%, so I think that helped ease the cleaning burden. It was quite fitting that I'd made that money blunder right after I decorated the store, because it forced me to enjoy the new vibe, which was actually quite nice. I would happily shop at Goodies by Floydson.
Oh well, I survived. Well, let's not make that mistake again.
Look at the pile of roses grow.
Oh, I didn't have enough coins for Elisa. Oh, I missed out on my new staff member. That's a bit sad. Let's turn all the lights on. Store's looking so good. What do you reckon? What's your name again? I don't know. I think you're Jack. The expenses every day are absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, about 16,000. And apparently I misjudged, and therefore I couldn't afford to pay my new employee. Too bad if she's got kids to feed.
Oh no, there's no one at this counter. I'm gonna have to do this counter myself. Flamin' Elisa didn't shop to work today.
Meanwhile, my goat operation was in full swing. I was now making 4 aged cheese every day without fail.
I got mostly expensive stuff. Bananas and strawberries are my cheap things.
That's just in case my customers want some dippy fruits for chocolate fondue.
Alright, I might hire Max the seller employee and see what happens. I think what Max will do, grab stuff from here and refill the crates up here.
I still hadn't made use of the ridiculous amount of extra field space I'd unlocked, so I got to work on that. And the 10th field and beyond were actually quite a bit bigger than the first 9 fields.
Yeah, that'll do for now. I don't want to spend too much because I need to keep the income flowing. Get my cheese. I'm going to dump it in the cellar. Where's Max? Max? There's Elisa. Hello, Elisa. Max, here, why are you a nudist? Off you go, big fella. I assume you'll just put it on top of... So now I'm not going to have to throw these things out every day because Max will just restock with his bare nipples.
The plan was to have a set catalogue of stock, which I'd expanded to include gingerbread and leeks, and all of that stock would have set places on the shelves. And from now on, I'd just chuck any new stock in the cellar, and Max would restock for me, so I no longer had to take the empty crates to the junk man each day. The reason I didn't do this earlier was to save costs, but it was quite handy, so perhaps I should have just hired Max ages ago.
You doing a good job, Max? You big legend? Go, Max. Go. Go, you nudist. Yes. Don't just stand there. Get back to work.
Other than Max's nips, it was business as usual, including so many roses. I realized the stalls above the lumberjack were climbable, and roofs seemed to be a surefire way to get origami, and this was no exception as I claimed 2 more to add to the museum collection. I couldn't find the final one though, so I googled it, and it was a sneaky one chilling on a ledge on the outside of my market.
Got him. Finito. Boom. Another 10,000 coins, I'll take it. Every origami piece. Beautiful.
I then spent about 13 years planting the rest of the fields.
So many roses, dude. Why?
And I added some more trees.
Now I've got every type of tree except for orange trees, which I'll add here. And they'll have a bit more space, which I might just put, I don't know, chestnuts.
On day 20 of spring, I was very rudely assaulted by seafaring villains.
Pirate visit? Oh no. Banned items, beer, whiskey, wine, and champagne. Dude, that's the main thing I sell. There's an actual pirate ship out there. The pirates are chilling. You don't want to buy my alcohol because you already got Bro, how wealthy are these pirates, man?
Thankfully, it was a beef day, so I was able to get a bunch of meat on the shelf to give people stuff to purchase. By the end of the day, I was down to selling just roses and some random cabbages, but I thrived thanks to the meat. I bought the final farm upgrade for 10,000 coins, and I expanded the cellar a little bit too.
We got one last big field.
And soon, it was full of roses.
It's just silly to get this many roses. Like, why do I have this many roses? Roses for days. The flaming pirates are here again. For goodness sake, dude.
This pirate day did not go so smoothly, because I didn't have delicious beef to fall back on. I threw some random crappy stuff on the shelves just to ensure I had enough to sell. Red currants take 8 days to grow, so it had been hard to get enough of them using the greenhouse, and therefore my wine production had never gotten into full swing. But last night I'd gotten fed up, and simply ordered some from the dock. This would obviously reduce the profit margin on the wine, but it was definitely still worth it to make sure all 4 of my alcohol machines were firing. And with that, the aged cheese, wine, and beef industries were in full swing. To stretch it further, I could have squeezed more alcohol machines into the workshop, but this was good enough for me.
Alright, we've officially got every tree spot populated.
And with that, the fields were finished too. On this particular day, I made over 8,000 coins from the junk man, churning up all that I'd harvested from the trees. At the end of the next day, I did something very dirty.
Alright, I'm going to bed with a big profit for once, and I think this should get me the last achievement actually.
That is right, my friends. I allowed myself to be taxed.
Oh, look at all that tax. Pay over 4,000 coins in taxes in one day. That's the 100%.
That is all of the achievements, but at this point I set myself a lofty goal. I wondered if I could perhaps save up 1 million coins. I don't want to spoil the end of how that went, but I'm gonna spoil it. It sucked, and I quit. But on the way towards quitting, Easter arrived.
I can get the Easter bunny. +3 reputation. I can get Easter flowers. Got the Easter bunny and the Easter flowers. Max rep is now 187. Cool.
I hired Kevin and Mary to help out Bare Nips with the cellar workload.
Oh, there's Mary. Hello, Mary. Good job, Mary. Kev is clipping... Wait, is that Kev? Oh, that's Kev. Yeah, nice.
Her name might have been Mary, but it had 2 R's on the employment documents, so I called her Mary. I had a butcher day on the same day the goat's dangly nips got all shiny, so that was a busy one. And I got blasted at Easter due to my failure to stock any bread, eggs, or carrots. I thought it would be fine because I didn't really have any problems at the last special event, but I guess the people were passionate about their Easter treats. The reputation loss was rough, and the daily costs were killing me. So just like that, I rage quit the 1 million coins goal after just a few days.
I don't think I can be bothered trying to... You just have to spend so much money to make money in this game. I had vague ambitions, but we won't do it. So the final thing to do is to max out the cellar, which is extremely expensive, by the way. Holy crap. Oh, I've even got it upstairs in the cellar. Holy dooly. This is big, huh? I've officially maxed everything out, I guess.
I even added some cellar stands in there.
Yeah, the cellar stands are clearly useless. I'm gonna leave human society. Go hide in a bush somewhere so that no one can tax me.
This is a very cool game though, and it scratched the money-making itch in a way similar to Stardew Valley, which is honestly a rare achievement. So if the devs give it some more love and maybe balance out the money-making options, it could be even better. But as it was, I had great fun with it. Sadly, I had no real reason to hang around for summer and autumn, but it would have just been the same thing with different crops, so no big loss. I prefer infinite roses anyway. Long live the purity of an alcohol, cheese, and meat market. Long live Marge the cleaner. All hail Max the cellar guy and his nips. Boo hiss, I hate taxes. 100% of Old Market Simulator complete.